In 1980, a company called Amway had already recruited over 1 million people into its system. By 2020, that number had exploded to over 5 million active distributors in the United States alone. And the overwhelming majority of them had lost money, not a little money. In many cases, their entire savings. But Amway is just one company. Behind it sits an entire industry, a $180 billion global machine that has recruited hundreds of millions of ordinary people across more than 100 countries. An industry that has quietly destroyed marriages, bankrupted families, and fractured friendships on every continent on Earth. And here's the part that should disturb you most. It's completely legal. This is not a story about one bad company. This is not a story about a few bad actors. This is a story about a business model. A system so carefully engineered to extract wealth from ordinary people that even the people running it often don't fully understand how it works. A system built not on products, not on sales, but on human psychology and the very specific ways the human mind can be manipulated into ignoring reality. This is the story of the multi-level marketing industry, and by the time this video is over, you will never look at a business opportunity the same way again. It always starts the same way. A friend reaches out. Maybe it's someone you went to high school with, or a cousin you haven't spoken to in a while, or a coworker you always liked. And they seem different, more energetic, more optimistic than you've seen them in years. They've found something, they say, something that changed their life, and they want to share it with you. The pitch is never about a product. Not really. It's about a lifestyle. It's about freedom, financial freedom, time freedom, the freedom to be your own boss and work from anywhere in the world. They show you pictures of people on beaches, people driving luxury cars, people who used to be just like you, they say, until they found this. The meeting feels warm, personal, like you're being let in on a secret that most people are too closed-minded to see. And that framing is deliberate. MLMs train their recruiters to position skepticism as a character flaw. If you have doubts, it's because you don't believe in yourself. If you ask hard questions, it's because you're afraid of success. This psychological reframing is one of the most powerful tools in the MLM arsenal. It doesn't just sell you a business. It makes you feel like rejecting the business means rejecting your own potential. And so people sign up, not because they're stupid, not because they're naive, but because the pitch is specifically engineered by people who have spent decades studying exactly how to get past your defenses. The products being sold almost don't matter. What's really being sold in every MLM on Earth is the dream. And dreams, it turns out, are the most profitable product of all. To understand why MLMs work the way they do today, you have to go back to 1945 and a small California vitamin company called Nutrilite. Nutrilite's founders stumbled onto something that would change the business world forever. Instead of hiring a traditional sales force, they paid their own customers to sell the product, and more importantly, to recruit other customers to sell it too. Every person you recruited became part of your downline. Every sale they made put money in your pocket. The more people you recruited, the more money flowed up to you without you having to do anything at all. It was brilliant. And it was the blueprint for everything that came after. In 1959, two of Nutrilite's top distributors, a man named Rich DeVos and his partner Jay Van Andel, broke away and started their own company. They called it Amway, short for the American way. They took the Nutrilite model, refined it, and scaled it into something the world had never seen before. Within 2 decades, Amway had spread across the United States and into dozens of countries worldwide. Regulators took notice. In 1979, the FTC investigated Amway and ruled it was not a pyramid scheme. but only barely. The ruling set a legal precedent that the entire MLM industry has hidden behind ever since. The template was set, and hundreds of companies were about to use it. Here is the part they never show you at the hotel meeting. The part that gets buried in fine print on page 47 of a document nobody reads. Every MLM operating in the United States is legally required to publish what's called an income disclosure statement. It's a document that shows exactly how much money the average participant actually makes. And when you read them, really read them, the numbers are shocking. The FTC conducted a study of income disclosure statements from 350 MLM companies. What they found was devastating. Across all 350 companies, the median annual income for active participants was less than $500. Not $500 a month, $500 a year, before expenses. Because here's what the income disclosure statement doesn't tell you. It doesn't account for what participants spend to stay in the business. Monthly product purchases to maintain active status, conference tickets, training materials, marketing costs. When you subtract those expenses, the vast majority of MLM participants aren't just breaking even. They're losing money. In most MLMs, more than 99% of participants never turn a profit. That number isn't an exaggeration. It comes directly from the company's own published data. And the reason is simple mathematics. In any pyramid structure, the number of positions at the bottom always vastly outnumbers the positions at the top. For every person making real money in an MLM, there are thousands of people below them absorbing losses. The system doesn't just allow this, it requires it. The losses at the bottom are what fund the income at the top. The math was never going to work for you. It was never designed to. So if the math is this obvious, if the numbers are right there in the company's own documents, why does it keep working? Why do hundreds of thousands of people sign up every single year? The answer isn't stupidity. The answer is psychology. MLMs don't just sell products, they sell identity. From the moment you join, you are no longer a customer. You are an entrepreneur, a business owner, a visionary who had the courage to bet on yourself when everyone else was too afraid. That identity shift is deliberate, and it is powerful. Because once your sense of self is tied to the business, losing money stops being a financial problem and starts being a personal failure. And nobody wants to admit personal failure. So instead of quitting, people double down. They buy more product. They recruit harder. They tell themselves they just haven't worked the system long enough yet. And leaving becomes almost impossible. Not just psychologically, but socially. Because in an MLM, your upline is also your mentor. Your fellow distributors are also your closest friends. The company events feel like a family reunion. When you walk away from the business, you walk away from all of it. MLMs are engineered to make leaving feel like loss. And that engineering is the real product. The vitamins, the leggings, the essential oils, those are just the packaging. What's actually being sold in every MLM on earth is a sense of belonging so carefully constructed that people will drain their bank accounts to keep it. For most people who join an MLM, the damage is financial. They lose money, they lose time, and eventually they walk away. But for some, the story goes much darker than an empty bank account. In the late 1990s, a man named Keith Raniere founded a company called NXIVM. On the surface, it looked like any other MLM: personal development courses, motivational seminars, a multi-level recruitment structure. People paid thousands of dollars to join. They were told they were part of an exclusive community of high achievers. The pitch was polished, the community was warm, and the psychological hooks were everywhere. But NXIVM didn't stop at taking people's money. As the organization grew, Raniere began using the same psychological tools that every MLM deploys: identity, community, shame, loyalty, and pushed them to their absolute limit. Members were encouraged to cut off family and friends who expressed doubts. They were required to provide compromising information about themselves as collateral, information that would be used against them if they ever tried to leave. And then it got worse. A secret society within NXIVM called DOS was recruiting women and branding them with Raniere's initials. Members were trafficked, blackmailed, controlled in ways that would be unimaginable if they weren't documented in federal court records. In 2019, Keith Raniere was convicted on 7 federal counts, including racketeering, sex trafficking, and forced labor. He was sentenced to 120 years in prison. NXIVM is an extreme case, but it is not an anomaly. It is what happens when you take the psychological architecture of an MLM, the identity replacement, the manufactured community, the weaponized shame, and follow it to its logical conclusion. The tools were always there. Raniere just used them without restraint. By now you might be wondering if all of this is documented, if the income disclosure statements are public, if federal courts have convicted MLM leaders of serious crimes. Why does the industry keep growing? Why hasn't anyone shut it down? The answer is money, and the influence that comes with it. The MLM industry generates over $180 billion in global revenue every year. That kind of money buys a lot of access. Over the past 3 decades, MLM companies have donated tens of millions of dollars to political campaigns on both sides of the aisle. They've funded think tanks, they've lobbied aggressively against regulation, and they've spent enormous resources blurring the legal line between a legitimate direct sales business and an illegal pyramid scheme. That line, it turns out, is surprisingly thin. The 1979 FTC ruling that cleared Amway set a precedent that MLMs have hidden behind ever since. As long as a company can demonstrate that it sells real products to real customers, it can legally operate, even if the overwhelming majority of its participants lose money. Regulators have tried. The FTC has filed cases against major MLM companies, including Herbalife, which paid $200 million to settle charges in 2016 without admitting wrongdoing. Congress has held hearings. Academic researchers have published damning studies. Investigative journalists have exposed the industry repeatedly. And yet every year, millions of new people sign up. Because the MLM machine doesn't just lobby politicians, it recruits ordinary people to defend it. Every active distributor has a financial and psychological stake in believing the system works. They become unpaid advocates. They push back against criticism online. They recruit their friends and family. The industry has essentially built its own grassroots defense force out of the very people it's exploiting. It is one of the most elegant and ruthless self-perpetuating systems ever constructed. So, where does that leave you? The MLM industry isn't going anywhere. It is too profitable, too legally protected, and too psychologically sophisticated to be dismantled by regulation alone. The companies will keep running hotel meetings. They'll keep posting lifestyle photos on social media. They'll keep telling people that the only thing standing between them and financial freedom is the courage to say yes. But you are now armed with something most recruits never have before they sign on the dotted line: the truth. The income disclosure statement exists for every MLM operating in the United States. It is publicly available. It is usually buried on page 40 of a document nobody reads, written in language designed to confuse rather than inform. But it is there, and the numbers don't lie. Before you sign anything, before you buy your starter kit, before you recruit your first friend, find that document. Read it. Ask the person pitching you what percentage of people in their company made a profit last year. Watch what happens when you do. Because the most powerful weapon against a system built on manufactured hope is a single, inconvenient fact. The MLM industry has spent 70 years perfecting the art of the pitch. They have studied human psychology, refined their scripts, and built communities specifically designed to make you feel like you belong, right up until the moment you realize you've been paying for the privilege of belonging. Don't let the dream cost you everything. This has been The Dark Ledger. If this video opened your eyes to something you didn't know before, subscribe. Because next week we go deeper into the company that didn't just recruit your neighbors, it recruited entire governments. And the paper trail they left behind is unlike anything you've ever seen. The Ledger doesn't lie. See you next week.